love you, baby, that's forever. Even though we may see a little stormy weather, got to keep this ship from capsizing. Got to keep our love light on the rise, yeah, because this time I feel home. Got to keep love strong. This time I feel it to the bone. Got to keep love strong. We chose each other out of all the fish in the sea. I cast my net out and I brought your love home to me. Now I whisper in my talk with God above. I want to thank Him for sending me you to love, because this time I feel it to the bone. Got to keep love strong. Keep it strong. This time I feel it to the bone. Got to keep love strong. I know that loving me has sent you through a change or two. Sometimes I wonder how you remain so true. If I forget to tell you, I hope that you can see the feeling in my heart and how much you mean to me, because this time I feel it to the bone. Got to keep love strong. Keep it strong. This time I feel it to the bone. Got to keep love strong.
Thursday, and it's 1:30 in the afternoon, and if you want to call us, the number will be coming up on the screen in just a minute. Anyway, this is a pilot for a weekly series that we plan on airing starting sometime in July. And right now I'd like to introduce to you our brand new co-host. This is Paul Blakey, right here.
Hi there.
And because it's your birthday,
Right.
I finally found a copy of Back Into Blue.
Cool.
Paul and I have been fighting over this album. We had one copy between us, and it's not available anymore. It's by Quarter Flash. It's called Back Into Blue. And I was in a thrift store, and I found it for him. Anyway, happy birthday, buddy.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Cool.
Tonight, or today, I should say, just want to let you know that this is a call-in show, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to start out here and get things rolling. And from that point on, we want you to take over. We want you to call us and talk about whatever's on your mind, and we'll try to respond to anything that you have. If we're talking about a subject when you call in, you can change the subject if you want. However, we do have what we call the 5-minute rule. Okay, and the 5-minute rule goes like this, is that you have 5 minutes on the air, and if you're terribly, terribly boring, we have, at that point, we have the option to cut the call or not cut the call. But I mean, 5 minutes is a long time when you're on TV. Believe me, I know. Anyway, we're also going to run some interesting videos for you today. We have 4 today. The first one is going to be a poetry video by a local poet by the name of Lois Marie Lewis. She's going to do a poem, actually 2 poems. One is called Honey Child, and the other one is called Colored Flesh Changing Names. We have a music video by a group called the Chillums, which is some people that just got together to jam one day here in the studio. And it was produced by Monica Maynard, and the song they're going to do on the video is called Bus Driver. And there's a poetry video that I tried to show you last time, and we just had major technical problems with it. So we're going to try it again this time, and hopefully you'll like it. But remember, like I told you last time, on my poetry video, if you don't like it, don't call me and tell me that, okay? Okay. And we have a guest editorial by Paul Richmond about Earl Blumenauer and Bill Clinton, which is a pretty interesting little piece of trivia. We are also going to have a call-in contest tonight. So when you call in, if you see on your television screen the word contest call, that means that you'll have an option to listen to a little piece of music, and if you can identify what it is, you know, the artist or the album or the song or whatever, if you can come close to identifying who it is, then we're going to give you a prize. And the options that you have is album by Mr. Mister called Go On, and the reason why I bought this one is because it's my second favorite album of all time. So you can win that, or you can win this Kufi style ethnic looking hat that I made just for you. Hey! So here's the cool stuff that you can win right here today. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll start out with some news stories, some things that just kind of caught Paul and mine eyes this week, and we're going to talk about those things and give you an opportunity to call in and see what's going on. Paul, what you got on your sheet there?
Well, okay, it kind of seems that corporate interests are unable to finance their American dreams without pocket change from the American people. Though the Ford Motor Company lost, get this, $7 billion last year, and they laid off a small city. Their CEO, he never missed a meal, and he was unseen at the unemployment line. Yet, who would be better served than big business by having a superior educational system? Should they not chip in a couple of shekels so every Joe and Josephine will learn their 3 R's? What they've done is they take their investment tax credits, our money, down to Mexico where they get cheap workers. They're not bothered by being fair to laborers, environmental standards, and even sexual harassment laws. What they do is they ship their products up here and they beg us to buy American. Now, I said all that just to say this. I will if you will. Next.
Since the last time that I spoke with you, 2 more postal employees nutted up and started killing people at their respective post offices. One was at Dana Point, California, and the other was at Dearborn, Michigan, just a stone's throw from the very birthplace of yours truly. The incident at Dearborn, Michigan happened at the very same post office at which another similar incident occurred less than 2 years ago. It surprises me that no one yet has ordered an investigation into working conditions at the U.S. Postal Service. What is it about working at the post office that turns so many disgruntled former employees into homicidal fruitcakes? And, even more importantly, what kind of security system allows people who are not employed at the post office to walk in with semi-automatic weapons and start opening fire on innocent people? Paul?
Cool. It was about a week and some days ago that a person subjected himself to an initiation ceremony that included having a beer can shot off of his drunken head by another drunk, Indian style. It is not my aim, no pun intended, to comment on the state of initiations or beer drinking, though both should be taken in moderation. I'd like to talk about mindset. Picture One-Eyed Jack with a beer can in one hand and a steering wheel in the other. Scary thought, isn't it? But I missed my target, sorry. This guy can walk into any precinct that he's registered in and vote. I dare say that if he were the deciding vote for the son of Measure 9, that child would grow to full adulthood with Lon Mabon as a proud parent. And that is real scary. Damn, I missed again. I got my point now. Abortion rights. This guy can, maybe even has, or worse yet, he probably will breed. Would you like One-Eyed Jack living next door to you, teaching his sons how to become real men? before it's too late, pro-choice. It's your turn.
On Sunday, April 25th, what may have been the largest group of people ever to assemble in one place gathered on the Capitol Mall to demand equal rights under the law. Gays and lesbians with their friends and families from all over the country gathered to march through the nation's capital in a show of solidarity and support for President Clinton's proposal to lift the ban on gays and lesbians in the military and to begin the process of ensuring basic civil rights for all Americans. There were conflicting reports about the actual size of the gathering. Officials at the National Park Service, which oversees the management of the Capitol Mall, estimated the crowd to be approximately 300,000, while Washington, D.C. officials estimated the crowd at just over 1 million. The only gathering of people in our nation's history that may have been larger was the inauguration of Lyndon Johnson as President of the United States. The Oregonian reported on April 26th of this year that attendance estimates for that Johnson inauguration were roughly 1.5 million, but that figure is widely reputed to be grossly inflated. Street Level is estimating the crowd to be just over 1 million, and that it may have been the largest gathering of people ever to assemble in one place. And, mind you, at the time, your President Bill Clinton and every official representing Oregon at our nation's capital were elsewhere at the time.
You know, you can drive to almost any entrance, to almost any busy freeway, and see a guy in a fatigue jacket with a sign that says, "We'll work for food." Well, the suits have taken a page from the panhandler's notebook. They've gone to President Clinton, hat in hand, hawking jobs. Now, what seasoned politician worth his own salt would not roll over, play dead, and drool for jobs in his own district? I'm talking about billboards in space. That's right, space age advertising. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my remote control TV and my VCR. And the microwave minute rice in 15 seconds, it don't get no better than this. But first, do you want some space junk being built out of by the same people who make our cars, our TVs, and our VCRs? Secondly, who's going to pay for all that stuff? Corporate America? Right. Their favorite phrase is OPM, other people's money. I could go on about that, but we need you guys awake, so I'm just going to pass on that. And imagine this. A quiet dinner for two, you're with your spouse. Nice music, only to get mooned by the Marlboro Man.
Did you bring a graphic for us to look at? I remember when you first told me about this, I did not believe this was true until I saw it in the paper myself.
Actually, no.
Billboards in space, man. Are you ready for this? What the article that I read that Paul gave me said was that this billboard was going to be about 1 mile wide, and when you look up into the sky, it will appear about the same size as the moon.
Well, that's great. The horse's moon. Right up in space. Oh, love it, love it, love it.
Senator Bob Packwood is back in the news this week as his fellow senators wrestle with constitutional questions about the propriety of Oregon's election. On Monday afternoon, the Senate Rules Committee convened to consider whether the Senate has the power to unseat Senator Packwood because of the events leading to his current troubles with the Senate Ethics Committee. Petitioners' counsel Catherine Mayer insisted that Packwood's flagrant lying prior to the election about an investigation by the Washington Post into allegations of sexual misconduct amounted to election fraud. James Fitzpatrick, counsel for Senator Packwood, on the other hand, insisted that the charges have not been proven and that there is no evidence to suggest that the results of the election would have been different if Oregon voters had known about the egregious conduct. In Senator Packwood's corner, was, of all people, newly elected Democratic senator from California, Dianne Feinstein. She was concerned about the Pandora's box that would be opened if every candidate for public office was held accountable for what they say in an election campaign. Hello? What is wrong with this picture? Imagine, if you will, what kind of a government we would have to live with if politicians were legally obligated to tell voters the truth.
Okay. I love this, but you can't tell the truth. I mean, that's not the nature of politics.
Yeah, but that isn't the way that it has to be. I mean, the thing that really got me about this, about watching the hearings, I watched the whole hearings, and it was just amazing at how frightened these senators were at the possibility of being held accountable for what they say while they're trying to get our votes.
Well, I mean, what did you do? I mean, that's the point. I mean, what did Packwood do if he stuck his hand under somebody's dress? I mean, that's something we need to know about. I think it's a question of judgment, and that should be the primary issue here, I think.
And I've already expressed a whole handful of opinions about that. You're up, buddy.
Okay. During the Iran scam investigations, then President Bush said he was not the pilot. He was only the wing walker. And afterwards, President George gave an all-expense-paid trip to Japan for all the CEOs for our automobile industry. And they turned Georgie into Cal Worthington, who came back with an order for a couple of vehicles. Good work, George. Enter the Republican Sasquatch, Jesse Helms, who stomped his way into Tokyo demanding that they open their markets to American products. What's Jesse selling? Tobacco. Helms returned with a real order, and Japan's children developed a nasty habit: Marlboro and Camel, just to name a few. Their ad campaign is quite simple. They got an American-esque dream girl, young, blonde, and pretty, to stand out front of high schools giving away free cigarettes to school kids. She'll light it for you, and then you get a hat or a jacket with the company logo. Helms' Asian trip was pretty enriching because developing nations all through the Far East are now trying to cope with a growing number of teens hooked on American tobacco. Maybe Bush should have let Jesse Helms play Cal Worthington. Then Japan would have a problem with parking, and George could have wing-walked his way back to Washington.
Wing-walked his way back to Washington. Nice work. Nice work.
I had to figure out a way to get that in there. Wing-walking.
I like that. I like that. The activities of the infamous Oregon Citizens Alliance are spreading like a bad case of lice and no longer limited to our fair state. Organizers for the Oregon Citizens Alliance have wormed their way into Washington and Idaho as well over the last year. Now, that's not exactly news, but the most recent developments around the issue of legalizing bigotry is. It seems that the Idaho Citizens Alliance has turned in signatures for one of its Son of Nine ballot petitions in Idaho to be taken up by the voters during their next election. Fortunately, Idaho Attorney General Larry Echohawk is having none of that kind of tripe in his state. He ruled the petition unconstitutional, calling it contrary to its stated purpose. Echohawk contends that the measure would violate Idaho citizens' 14th constitutional right to equal protection under the law. He said, and I quote, "This petition is not merely an innocuous effort to ensure that homosexuals do not receive special status. Rather, it targets a class of citizens for denial of basic constitutional rights. However, those who stand to lose because of this proposal initiative are not just homosexuals singled out for government-condoned discrimination. All Idahoans will suffer an abridgment of our most deeply held and cherished constitutional rights: the right of freedom of speech, academic freedom in our universities, free political debate in our government bodies, and the right to live in a society where all members are protected equally under the law." And I personally wish that we had some kind of an award that we could give to people who hold some kind of sense of sanity in an otherwise hysterical political battle. And this guy, Larry Echohawk, definitely deserves it. So if we have such a, let's make one up, Paul.
Hey, that's
a street-level award of some kind.
We could send him a hat or something.
Yeah, I got another hat at
I'm
home.
sure
We'll send
he'd
it.
like that.
We'll send it to Larry and thank him for having some kind of sanity in an otherwise pretty messed up world. Anyway, what I would like to do right now, if I were in charge, I would say we should put up the telephone number and let people start calling us. And I would also like to see a video by me. I was the producer of it. This is a poetry session that we did with a local poet by the name of Lois Marie Lewis. And she did actually a whole half-hour worth of poems, but I wanted to take these two out of that particular show that we did and show those to you specifically. So if we can go to those, I'd love to do that now.
Well, child, welcome aboard. Take a seat. A new captain is at the helm. Me. Colored changing names. During colored, I was not yet born. I traveled a long sojourn in Mexico at Negro, arriving on the Oregon scene with Afro-American. I wonder if they renamed the cow. During phases of black, I took a crayon of the same, marking up unrefined tree pulp, raising my head, searching the view. No likeness is seen of either hue. Black, white, ha, ah, ha, ha, ha. Bearing this with a grin, I became a human being, refusing to degrade my personage on arbitrary realm. Those application changing names, they'd send it back again, demanding identity. I wrote African, Native American, white, some French, and Italian if females pinch. Indian, Hispanic, unknown, what will you rename it when finally settled on? Always been human.
Hi, we're back. I'm Paul, and this is Gregory, and you want to give us a call at 288-4442. We kind of wanted to talk about, we want to show one of these graphics. Could you toss us the one in the middle?
Yeah, the one in the middle. Actually, that's a cool one there, too.
Yeah, what, you mean that one?
Yeah, totally.
That one on the screen?
Back up on that, Toby.
Yeah.
The right side of
The one in the middle.
the one in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's the one in the middle. Give us titles. There you go.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy is, yeah. This is a man who went through his initiation rites to get into Mountain Men's Anonymous.
That was the name of the club that he... Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as I understand this story, he stood by a tree.
No, this is in a basement.
Okay,
He
he's in a
did this
basement.
he did this in somebody's house, which, you know, like I said, a driver's license, please no. Voter's registration card, God,
He let this guy
please.
shoot an arrow at him in the face. Or
Well-
to shoot a beer can off the top of his head. That's what it was.
Right. Well, I mean, that's better, right? They're both drawn. I mean, that's better. It should be, I mean, no voter's registration card, no driver's. There should be an exemption for stupidity.
or drunkenness.
Well, no, you can't get that stupid, you know, with beer alone.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine what would be going on in somebody's mind to say, yeah, I'm going to put this beer can on the top of my head, shoot this off with an arrow.
Yeah, here's my vote for poster child of the year, abortion rights. Yeah, most definitely. Okay, why should we let gays in the military?
Okay, we should let gays in the military because there isn't any reason not to. For example, in Canada, we talked about this the last time we were on the show briefly. And, in Canada, gays are allowed openly in the military, and they're not having these scary problems about rapes in the shower room and all this kind of stuff that are anticipated by the American military personnel. And I'm really kind of concerned about what the real agenda is here, because I don't think it's real
That's
clear.
superiority.
'Cause
Just basic, you know, I got to be in control type of, you know, information. I can't share it with you. You can't. I mean, they're doing the same thing with women. I mean, getting into combat, getting into the military outside of the support positions.
We got a phone call? Great, let's take it.
Okay, well, let's go.
Caller, you're on the air.
Yo, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm out of the room from the television. This is kind of aside from what you guys are talking about, but it's definitely within the forum. And it amazes me that the people who are in political power right now are able to get away with as much, I want to call it narcissism, but controlling the peons, and that over all the racial lines that exist out there, it seems like the real difference is financial power and who has the capital. for instance, back after the 12 years of Reagan-Bush, we were left with 1.5% of the population holding 70% of the capital, which leaves the rest of us with very little democracy. Do you have anything to say to that?
Actually,
Well, yeah. That's what this country was built on, right? You know, a big business running everything. What we do is we support American business, large business, with our, you know, I call it corporate welfare. And we just give them money, we give them all our resources, and what they give us back is downsizing. Why am I looking up at the light?
because that's where the sound is coming from. You're the contest call, incidentally. I told you about the contest call. You still there? You with us? He's gone? Wow, he could have won one of these fabulous prizes.
Well, hey, maybe he'll call back and...
So we're still taking calls anyway. We're live and we're ready for you.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the things I wanted to talk about before we went on is we have a list of things that we don't talk about on street level. And last time that I talked with you, the list only had one item on it, and today we've increased that list by 100%. We will not talk about Elvis sightings, and we will not talk about Bigfoot sightings. Will we, Paul?
Okay, I haven't seen Bigfoot at all this week.
Because Bigfoot does not exist. And those of you who believe that Bigfoot exists, please find something constructive to do.
Stop watching TV.
Way too much television. Way too much Geraldo Rivera. What else you got? You got a whole list of stuff to talk about, don't you?
Yeah, well, yeah. I did
So we're taking calls, incidentally.
Yeah, yeah, 288-4442. I did want to say that in an unrelated story, there are hundreds of... In an unrelated story, hundreds of planes, trains, and automobiles reach their destinations safely. I just wanted everybody to focus on that, rather than the accidents.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to make a point of that.
And a visit to any airport will tell you that, too.
Pretty much, yeah, they're still there.
I've actually traveled from... We got a phone call? Okay, we'll take it in just a second. I've actually traveled from Lexington Park, Maryland, to Phoenix, Arizona, to Eureka, California on an airplane, and I'm still here to talk about it. I'm not a victim of shrapnel or whatever.
Clap for Greg.
Caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, I wish I could hear you guys a little better. I got a dial tone, and so I don't know whether that's my phone or yours.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can barely hear you.
Okay, why don't you, I'll talk real loud, and why don't you turn your TV up just a little taste?
It's in the other room. I don't want to get any feedback.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I'll try to talk loud.
Okay. You guys, so I missed some of what you said after my phone hung up on you.
Oh, you are the contest caller. That's one of the things I wanted to tell you.
Okay.
You have the opportunity to win these fabulous prizes that I showed you earlier. You have your choice between Mr. Go On, or this very hat that I made for you. I made this with my very own hands, and it's really cool, very stylish, real ethnic looking.
Say again?
Okay, what I'd like to do is, could you have in the control room run the piece of music on the contest call tape? If you can identify this piece of music, tell me who the artist is and what the name of the song is, or either of those things, and you're a winner right now.
Okay.
Okay, can we play that?
Yeah.
As soon as you hear this music coming up, this is what you're going to identify. And I'm pretty sure it'll be soon, too. I'm pretty sure.
Today, it could be today.
So did you have any...
It's LL Cool J. Is that correct?
LL Cool J? No, that's not correct.
Okay.
I can't hear it in here. You did hear it on the TV, though, right?
Oh, yeah, I heard it.
Okay, good, good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you lose. What? Listen, thanks for calling in. Did you have another comment that you wanted to?
Yeah, you said something that you couldn't hear us before, right?
Right.
Okay, you said something about the corporate, about the wealth being held by the small minority.
Yeah, well, the minority is about, the last statistic I saw, which was out of a book, Politics of Rich and Poor. I have a copy in the house here somewhere.
Yeah.
And it stated that 1.5% of the capital in the United States is held, or 1.5% of the population in the United States holds 70% of the capital.
Uh-huh.
I believe that's true, yeah.
Which part of the population are you?
I'm definitely lower class. I've made less than $14,000 a year, which is poverty level if I had a wife and 2 children.
You did that well last year, did you?
Well, you know, and the funny thing is that I'm an unemployed tow truck driver. Okay, so I've worked kind of both sides of the field, and it comes down to questionable ethics in your workplace.
Yeah.
And you know, I've heard a lot of jargon on these on the access about people complaining about these uninsured seizures. And I'd like to make a few comments on that, if you don't mind.
Go
Sure.
ahead.
Okay, well, I have a stack of pictures there's about 76 pictures altogether, and each accident has 3 or 4 pictures to it. And I went through it all, and 7 out of 11 of the accidents that I have were uninsured motorists. And each time, somebody was either severely injured or there was over $7,000 damage. Okay, one time I took a car out of a basement of a house, and this was an uninsured accident. The person who was driving was not only uninsured, had a revoked driver's license, okay, had been pulled over 30 days previously and gotten a ticket for being uninsured, and she hadn't fastened the seatbelt on her baby's seat and was later charged with homicide. And this really scares me because the people who are uninsured, and this could be biased on my part, but I think that they drive with less care than the people who are insured who want to keep their insurance rates lower by not having accidents and tickets.
That's one thing that I'm not really altogether sure about, because when I see people doing something really stupid on the highway, I assume that they have so much insurance that it doesn't matter. There is a question I have for you. Are you still with us? Are you still with us? There is one question that I have for you. What did you think of the recent law enacted in Portland that will allow the police to confiscate your automobile if you cannot prove that you have some insurance? And when I first heard that, I don't drive myself, so it probably doesn't relate to me all that much, but the one thing that that immediately came to mind for me was that kind of singles out a specific part of our population that doesn't get to drive automobiles, or that is subject to having their automobiles impounded, and that's people who don't have a lot of money. And I'm really kind of disturbed about that. I don't know if that's altogether fair. And the whole question about insurance, another thing that occurred to me is if the government is requiring us to have that insurance, then I think that it ought to be regulated and maybe consolidated into one giant insurance company, since it's something that's required as part of our citizenship. And I'm open to any comments about that. You don't like that, huh?
No. Anything Uncle Sam is involved in turns into a real fiasco. Okay, they are the most unorganized outside of the church, the most unorganized group of people I have ever run into in my life. And I think the regulation part makes a little more sense, like State Farm, or because if they don't make a profit off of you, I mean, you pay them every month. If they don't make a profit off of you, you're out of here. Okay, and we do have a caller.
Great. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi there. Hello.
You're with us, caller. No caller? Okay. While we have a minute, I would like to show you this this comic strip right on the very end here, and I'd like the caption to go with it too. I brought this with me. It doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about, but I wanted to show this to you because I think it's hysterically
really
funny.
Interesting. Yeah. 7 out of 11 uninsured motorists.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild stat.
Scary. Real scary. Yeah.
Okay.
The third one, yeah.
All right.
This comic strip I found in the Oregonian.
What is it?
Y'all might not think it's funny, but I think it's hysterical.
What is it? What is it? You wanna?
It's going to come up on your screen in just a second.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Back that out.
Well, that's.
It says, I don't know if you can see that, but it says, bomb-sniffing dog discovers Myron's new play.
Okay, for all of us writers out there, we take offense.
Well, we'd like to, if we can, I'd like to go to our second video tonight. This is a video that was produced by Monica Maynard, who was a part of the crew of the first street level. She happened to become certified that very day and went on to be part of the crew for the show that I did, the first one that I did. Anyway, the session that she was coming off of was this group of people who had gotten together for, I believe it was the second time. They had gotten together and jammed the night before, coming into the studio to be part of a production class.
Cool.
And the name of the group for this particular video is called The Chillums. They're all parts of other groups, I guess. The name of the song is Bus Driver, and this is submission by Monica Maynard. It's our guest music video.
Hey, Mr. Bus Driver, why hast thou forsaken me? I've spent too many days as you passed me by. Too many days crying, please, at your mercy now. Hostage released to roam. I need you to guide me home. And the dark closes in, and you knock me off my feet again. Yeah, well, take a look through my eyes and taste a piece of my life. Yeah, and take a look through my eyes and taste a piece of my life, my life, my life. Silent stare will haunt you everywhere, 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 everywhere. I will have your eyes. 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 Yeah, they said it's over now. A lifetime of being victimized I trade for 2 minutes of rage. Now I'm a prisoner of a different kind. I can taste the steel of my cage, yes. Do you know the way? Do you know the way home? Do you know the way home? Do you know the way home, the way home, the way home? Hey, Mr. Bus Driver, why hast thou forsaken me? Too many days you have passed me by. Too many days crying, please, at your mercy now. At your mercy now. At your mercy now. I'm not at your mercy now. I'm not at your mercy now. I'm not at your mercy now.
Hey. I really like that band. I think that woman can sing. I really do. I happened to catch the tail end of the session that they were doing to record that, and I was really impressed with her. Anyway, those are the Chillums, and the song is called The Bus Driver, and it's a video by Monica Maynard, and that was her very first production. Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Almost as good as my first production. Almost as good as my first production.
Boy, I don't know how you can bend your arm around that way.
Aside from this week being... my birthday was this week. Your birthday was this week. Who else?
Okay, well, actor Jimmy Stewart turns 85 on May 20th. You can send cards and letters to Jimmy Stewart, P.O. Box 85-JS, Hollywood, California 90078. A little bit later on in the show, we will give you that address one more time.
There we go. There it is, right there. Ask and you shall receive. There you go.
There it is. There it goes.
Also,
P.O. Box 85-JS, Hollywood, California 90078.
Also, I was reading the TV page of the Sunday Oregonian, and guess who has the same birthday as me? Television star that you watch. Take one guess and I'll tell you who it is.
Television show that I watch. Alan Alda.
Nope, it's Candace Bergen. Murphy
Oh,
Brown
really?
has the same birthday as I do.
That's right, yeah. She
and
did,
singer Billy Joel,
She
too.
did turn Billy Joel,
Billy Joel has the same birthday as me.
Mr. Glass Houses.
You bet.
Well,
That's the
great.
one.
That's great.
That's the one. I would like for somebody to win this tape.
Yeah, we need
And
244-288 288-4442. Give us a call.
Also, why don't we go to the other cartoon that I brought with me from the Oregonian? This
Okay.
this one is political. This actually appeared in the Oregonian just before the 1988 election, and I've saved it just because it's still so appropriate.
Okay, well, cartoon time. Any questions?
Can you read that? I can't read it from here.
Okay, here we go.
The first panel says,
This is your state on Measure 5.
okay, what's the second panel say?
Second panel, this is your state without replacement tax revenues.
Any questions?
Any questions about it?
That's a whole issue that we took up last time that we were on, so I've talked enough about that, but how about...
Measure 5?
Yeah, and the fact that I think it's one of the education unions is circulating a petition to overturn Measure 5. And we talked about last time that really kind of irritated me because it's one of the things that I think we're having a problem with is the priorities of how we collect taxes, where we collect them, and what we do with that money. For example, I was at a school board meeting just Tuesday night. I was working on a PCA shoot, and we were at a board meeting, and I was watching these people haggle over dollars to educate kids, while not even half a mile from where they are sitting is the proposed Blazer Arena that we have committed $34 million to. A light rail project going to Hillsborough that we've committed at least $12 million to. And we're crying because there isn't enough money here to educate our kids. There's something wrong with our priorities.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily the fact that, you know, the Blazers need a new gym to play in, or that we got a call?
You got a call?
Oh, okay, well, come on out. Come on down. You're a winner. Hello?
Delilah, you're up.
Hi. I was wondering if you could explain what you're talking about.
Which thing that we're talking about would you like us to explain?
All of it.
All of it? I'll tell you what, we can rerun the program for you. Be specific. We talked about a bunch of different stuff. Right now we're talking about Measure 5.
Oh.
But you don't have to talk about that if you don't want to, Delilah. You can talk about whatever you want.
Oh, I can?
Sure.
Well, I'd like to talk about what's going on in Portland right now as far as the minority situation. I'm not from Portland, and I'm from California. And Portland just seems really segregated. I wish I could have tuned in when the show first began so that I could talk more about whatever you guys are talking about. But I kind of want to know, why is it that in this city, the entire, well, basically, yeah, the entire population of the black community is concentrated in just one area?
I have a theory about that. Listen, don't hang up though, because I'm going to give you a chance to win this tape later. But what I wanted to say is that one of the things that you might take into consideration is that as few as 30 years ago in Portland, it was illegal for a minority to buy a house in most of the city. The area that was segregated, the area that was redlined for residences for other than white Anglo-Saxon Protestant so-and-so, was a matter of law up until as recently as 30 years ago. I mean, and I think it's also the style of racism that Portland has is different than anywhere else I've been. I was born and raised in Detroit, and you were born and raised in Chicago, and their racism is real overt. I mean, it's right in your face. In Portland, it's what I call polite racism, in the sense that it's insidious and it's kind of below the surface. I mean, people who are racist will at least make attempts to treat you with civility to your face, okay? But that is not necessarily what's in their heart. I do agree that Portland and Oregon in general has a long way to go as far as acceptance of human beings rather than segregating these. Are you still there, Delilah?
Still here, and I don't agree that there's civility to any term at all. I believe that, well, just for myself living in the Northeast area, I've been approached quite a few times with a lot of different attitudes, and they're not very good. And then too, I look around the Northeast area. environmentally it's so dirty. I mean, just the scenery is so filthy. Why doesn't the people in this city care about the conditions that these people are living in?
Well,
they don't look, or I mean, what's really going on here?
Delilah, you know, one of the things that I'd like to comment on is that it's pretty much a money thing. Okay, a lot of it doesn't really come down to racism as much as it does economic factors. There's no money up there. If you look around the Northwest area, there's no shops, there's no businesses. There's really nothing to attract an array of people, a different array of people into that community outside of housing.
And there's something that can be done about that. And I know that before the election, Bud Clark was starting to institute a program. Well, he was actually trying during the whole time that he was mayor, and couldn't seem to get it moving. Was kind of the opposite of a red line district in the sense that giving people specific tax credit for an enterprise zone. I mean, if you've ever gotten on the number 4 bus and gone out to Columbia Villa, it'll make you cry. It looks like a demilitarized zone, for crying out loud.
Berlin,
and there's no exactly, and there's no reasons for those buildings to be in that condition when there is a lottery in the state of Oregon that is dedicated specifically to providing money for business startups. And I agree, Delilah, that that's something that you and I can do, is to call up Vera Katz and say, hey, this program was started, let's get moving on it, let's keep it working.
Yeah. And
Delilah, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, and I have just one more question if I could just ask really quick.
Sure.
Okay, but don't hang up, because I want to give you a chance to win this cool hat. Okay?
I'd like to know, because it seems as if everybody else in Portland is living in this kind of a fantasy land as to where, oh, it's not in my community. And, I mean, it's so beautiful in the Gresham area and the downtown area and the Beaverton and the Lowell. Beautiful. But I wonder what the people of Portland that are so fortunate to live in those areas would do if, in fact, the gang violence, the drug trafficking and selling and the dope dealers were to start moving out into their areas and their homes and doing the things that they're doing here. Do you think that the Portland Police Department would take more of a better attitude towards cleaning it up if it was to reach these people?
I think they would, Delilah, and to tell you the truth, that stuff that you were talking about, gang violence in places like Gresham and southeast Portland, I think that's going to happen in a matter of minutes myself. I mean, it's on its way. I mean, Beaverton and way out in south, what is it? Not Lake Oswego, but Oregon City and Cornelius are already starting to see signs of gang violence. I agree. It's already started to happen. And yeah, I think the police will probably take a different view of that, and that's really unfortunate. That's frustrating for me.
I don't know. I don't see that. The police getting involved is going to make a great deal, make a difference. Okay, I think a lot of it comes down to economic. You can stem the flow if you start getting jobs into various communities. If you start getting the youth into part-time jobs, I think that makes a big difference. Personally, I don't think the police they're no good at that kind of stuff.
Could we cue up the tape so that this contest caller here can hear the piece of music that she's going to identify for us? And I'll bet you she can too. Delilah, good luck.
The strain, you worship the bed with your life, holding sessions of confession every moonlit night. You do it so good, tasting every
Anytime you think you know who it is, let us know.
Isn't it too late?
No, it's not. I didn't think this was a hard one. I'm going to have to get an easier one. I'm sorry, Delilah. Listen, thank you for calling. It's been really enjoyable talking with you.
Yeah.
Is that all the comments you had tonight or today?
Great questions, though. Great
questions.
Yeah, enjoyed them. Enjoyed it.
And that's one of the things that I wrote a letter to Bud Clark about, to thank him for doing that, because he really was on a project of trying to do something especially about northeast neighborhoods, north and northeast neighborhoods that have been the worst hit. One of the things that happened in Columbia Villa, I worked there in 1990. Now in 1987, I recall, wrap it up?
Faster.
Roll in? We don't have to use it. We don't have to use it. Okay. Yeah, we're about 10 minutes from being over here, huh? Our time is winding down. Anyway, in Columbia Villa, in 1987, when I first got here, we were hearing on the news these horrible stories about gang shootings in the street. I mean, it was like Dodge City kind of. And when I went to work there in 1990, they had instituted a community policing program and a neighborhood watch in that area. Okay, and when I went up there, evidently all that stuff was gone because, I mean, what I walked into was an extremely peaceful place. There's a phone call? Great.
Another
You're on
caller.
the air.
Come on down.
Caller, you're with us.
Hello, caller.
Maybe not.
Okay.
Maybe not. Caller, you there? Okay. Keep trying. We'll get you through.
Okay.
288.
Oh, there he is. Wait a minute. We can hear
Hi.
you now.
Yeah, I think you're getting too much feedback from me.
Okay.
What I'd like to say is that about 1 in 10 drivers are uninsured at this time.
Uh-huh.
And that equates to one thing, but the real point of what I wanted to say was that with all the biases and the racial things that go on, I believe that corporate America encourages this to keep the peons fighting amongst themselves so they won't catch up to the rest of you guys.
I agree.
And
I agree.
So you think it's warfare between the poor, huh?
And that's what they're playing on, is because they hold so much of the capital that we are not capable to build industries for ourselves. Our basic civil liberties are kind of gone. You know, you go to the workforce, and we're all expendable, and we're reminded of this on a regular basis, that we're just, and that's how they motivate us. They don't motivate us by telling us we can do things, or they motivate us by telling us if we don't, we're gone.
Do you have a solution?
I was going to ask that, too.
Hello, caller.
I think, well...
Somebody disappeared.
Yeah, to the caller anyway, whoever you were. I think one of the things that you need to take into consideration is that you're looking at this situation as an Oregonian. Oregon is what we call an at-will state as opposed to a right-to-work state, which essentially means that the law says that an employer can fire you for any reason that they want, essentially. And if you cannot prove that it was because you are a protected class under the Constitution, then you have no recourse whatsoever. You're right in the sense, but I think it's a little bit skewed in Oregon because it's a little bit worse than here than it is, say, in California. In California, an employer has to have a reason to fire you, and you have recourse if your employer does not provide you with a reason. So, but I do agree. Floyd? Are you with us, Floyd?
Yes.
All right, you're on.
You guys doing all right?
Yeah.
Sure,
Okay,
fine.
good. I just got a couple comments and maybe a question. We'll start with the comments.
We got about 5 minutes.
Okay. People ought to really appreciate public television up here. I've lived in those places of the country, and they don't have access to public cable the way they do here.
Cable's a lot of fun,
the
too.
issues that you people are talking about, the gang violence. Portland needs to get real. There ain't no gang violence up here. These people need to go someplace where there is some gang violence, where they can see some true crime, and maybe they get a little bit of grip on reality around here.
There is a lot more of it
As far as
elsewhere,
the black and
yeah.
white thing, I know more blacks in the South that are driving Mercedes than whites up here. The black and white thing is a ploy by the rich man to get us killing each other so we won't pay attention to the true problems. I don't understand the crime problem up here and the way that the city board wants to go about it. I mean, can you explain to me why in a town half the size as most in this country, the police get, twice the pay? There's half the crime, the police get twice the pay. This Measure 5 thing, if they would get rid of the property tax value system that they have around here and bring in a sales tax on everything except food, leave the poor man alone, let him eat his food without taxes. Any man who can afford $11 for a can opener can afford 50 cents for this electric can opener if he's going to be so lazy he can't open it with his hand. There's a lot of issues here that you guys aren't addressing the correct way. You're doing it the Oregonian way, which is not the center of the universe. Most of these people that are up here now are coming up from California, and I hope that one day they will pull their heads out of their rears, look around them, and see what's going on. Do something.
I can tell you're not from California, are you?
Wow, he was Floyd was hitting my nerve about that sales tax thing, because he and I disagree on that. That works my nerve. There is so much money going on in this state; it's just being misappropriated. That's all.
Sales tax is a progressive thing. Back in Illinois, where I'm from, they had no sales taxes as far as, it was back in 1966. And 1 year later, they decided to institute a 2-cent sales tax. It's only for 6 months, they said. When I left about, 78, it was almost a dime. I don't like a sales tax, and I don't think it's a good idea personally. I think we need another idea.
If it were really necessary, I think that we should go with that kind of idea. And if it really were necessary, I'd probably support it as well.
Hey.
Huh?
Sure, yeah. We got a minute or so.
Yeah, we got a minute or so. Let's put it on. Tab, how you doing?
Hello, this is Tabby.
Hi, Tabby. How you doing?
I'm fine. I just want to say to the young lady that called earlier, there's some reason why people are moving here from California, and they're bringing their troubles with them. As far as I'm concerned, yes, Portland is a very prejudiced city, and there's a reason why it is that way. We would like for it to be a beautiful city. And when the people come here and they make such wrong moves, harsh moves, I don't understand how this person could be saying that it's just a terrible city. We put them all in one place so that we can control the beautiful place that we live in.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
And who are they that we're putting in one place? Hello.
Okay. We need to wrap it up anyway.
Okay, there's one thing I want to say. I want to talk about weapons in school real quick. We're always hearing stories about guns, knives, and grenade launchers in the classroom. So the only thing I want to say, one of the weapons that gets all these arms to flaring is words. And if you really want to arm your kids, you want to try something like "I love you." It only takes a moment, and it lasts a lifetime. I'm done.
Get an amen from me.
Okay.
We don't have a date and time for our next show, but we will be doing another one in June, and we hope that you keep an eye on your cable channel, so watch for us. And also, we will be coming to you every week, probably on Tuesday night, hopefully on Channel 11, starting at the beginning of July and going to September and beyond, if you like. Anyway, I'd like to thank the callers who called in. I want to thank my crew for being here today. I really appreciate it. And to
good job.
To all of you who tuned in today, thank you very much.
Thanks,
and God
callers.
bless you all.
We really appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Hey.
Hey. That's pretty good. I enjoyed it. After the first, relax a little bit.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Sent you through a change or two. Sometimes I wonder how you remain so true. If I forget to tell you, I hope that you can see the feeling in my heart and how much you mean to me. Because this time I feel it to the bone. Got to keep love strong. Keep it strong. This time I feel it to the bone. Got to keep love strong.